Your Honor, I'll defend her. The courtroom erupted. Cameras flashed. Reporters whispered like vultures circling prey. And Grace Ellington, blonde, trembling, mascara streaking down her face like war paint, stared at the man in the blue janitor uniform standing at the back of the room. He still held the mop. Nobody knew that 15 years ago, this man had been destroyed by the same people who were now destroying her. Nobody knew God had been preparing him for this exact moment. And nobody knew what Grace would whisper to him months later, words that would change everything. But before we get there, you need to understand how a single father cleaning floors at midnight became the only man willing to walk into the fire for a billionaire the world had already condemned. It's 8:47 a.m. on a freezing Monday morning in Manhattan. People are grabbing coffee at Dunkin', honking at yellow cabs, scrolling through their phones on the subway. Just another day in New York City. But inside the federal courthouse on Pearl Street, the air feels different. Heavy. Tense. Reporters pack the hallways like sardines. Camera crews set up tripods. Security guards check press badges. Everyone's waiting for the same thing. The fall of Grace Ellington. She's a billionaire. CEO of Ellington Innovations, a tech company that was supposed to change the world. She funds hospitals, scholarships, clean water projects across Africa. She's been on the cover of Forbes, Time, Vogue. She's the kind of woman little girls look up to. And now, she's accused of laundering millions of dollars through her own charity. The prosecutors say she's a fraud, a liar, a criminal in a designer suit. Grace walks into the courtroom at 8:52 a.m., flanked by 2 federal agents. She's wearing a gray blazer, her blonde hair pulled back in a tight bun. But her eyes? Red, swollen. She looks like she hasn't slept in days. She sits down at the defense table, surrounded by 6 lawyers in tailored suits. The best money can buy. Her legal team cost more than most people make in a lifetime. But here's the thing. At 8:58 a.m., 2 minutes before the judge walks in, all 6 of them stand up. And they quit. Just like that. The lead attorney, some guy named Richard Caldwell with slicked back hair and a Rolex, leans over and whispers something to Grace. Then he picks up his briefcase, buttons his jacket, and walks out. The other 5 follow him like ducks in a row. Grace doesn't move. She just sits there, staring at the table, her hands trembling. The courtroom explodes. Reporters are shouting. Cameras are flashing. The prosecutor, a stone-faced woman named Diana Frost, smirks like she just won the lottery. Judge William Brennan walks in, bangs his gavel 3 times, and yells, "Order! Order in the court!" He looks at Grace, then at the empty chairs next to her. "Miss Ellington, where is your legal team?" Grace opens her mouth, but nothing comes out. She looks like a little girl who just got lost in a grocery store. Judge Brennan sighs. "Miss Ellington, if you cannot secure representation, I will have no choice but to remand you into federal custody until—" "Your Honor." The voice comes from the back of the room. Everyone turns. A man in a blue work shirt and dark pants is standing near the corner, next to a yellow mop bucket. He's maybe mid-30s, clean-shaven, brown hair, strong jawline. He looks normal, like someone you'd see at a Little League game or a church barbecue. He steps forward, still holding the mop handle. "Your Honor," he says again, louder this time. "I'm an attorney. I'll defend her." The courtroom goes dead silent. Judge Brennan leans forward, squinting. "I'm sorry, who are you?" "Mark Daniels, Your Honor. I'm licensed to practice law in the state of New York." The prosecutor shoots to her feet. "Your Honor, this is absurd. This man is a janitor. He just interrupted a federal proceeding." "I'm a licensed attorney," Mark repeats, calm as Sunday morning. He reaches into his shirt pocket and pulls out a worn leather wallet. He walks forward, past the gallery, past the reporters, and hands a laminated card to the bailiff. The bailiff carries it up to the judge. Judge Brennan studies it for a long moment. His eyebrows lift. "This shows you were admitted to the New York bar 23 years ago. It's still active, though." He looks up. "You haven't practiced in 15 years. Why is that?" Mark meets his gaze. "Personal reasons, Your Honor." Diana Frost slams her hand on her table. "Your Honor, this is a mockery. Miss Ellington had a team of 6 attorneys from one of the top firms in the country. Now a courthouse custodian wants to represent her in a federal case? This is—" "Miss Ellington," Judge Brennan interrupts, looking directly at Grace. "Do you consent to this representation?" Grace finally looks up. Her eyes are still wet, mascara smudged. She turns her head slowly and looks at Mark. For a long moment, neither of them speaks. Then she nods. Yes, she whispers. I do. Judge Brennan exhales. Very well. Mr. Daniels, you have 72 hours to prepare. We reconvene Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Court is adjourned. He bangs the gavel once. The room erupts again. Reporters shout questions. Cameras flash like fireworks. Security guards rush to clear a path. Grace grabs her purse and turns toward the side exit. Mark follows her, 2 steps behind. They push through the crowd, into a narrow hallway, and finally out into the freezing November air. A black car is waiting at the curb. Grace climbs in without a word. Mark hesitates, then gets in beside her. The driver pulls away. For 5 minutes, neither of them speaks. The car weaves through Manhattan traffic, heading uptown toward the Upper East Side. Finally, Grace turns to him. Why did you do that? Mark looks down at his hands. They're rough, scarred. Hands that have scrubbed floors, changed diapers, fixed broken sinks. I don't know, he says quietly. That's not an answer. He looks up. I've been cleaning that courtroom for 3 years. I've watched you sit through every hearing. I've seen your lawyers argue, file motions, cross-examine witnesses. And I've seen them lose. Badly. Grace's jaw tightens. They didn't lose. They quit. Same result. She stares at him. Do you know who I am? Grace Ellington. You run Ellington Innovations. You developed some kind of clean energy breakthrough that threatens the oil and gas industry. And now someone's trying to bury you with a bogus theft charge. Her eyes narrow. How do you know it's bogus? Because I read the case files. How? I clean the courthouse at night. Judges leave documents on their desks. I have access. He shrugs. And I have insomnia. The car pulls up to a sleek glass tower overlooking Central Park. The driver opens the door. Grace steps out, then looks back at Mark. Come on. We have work to do. The elevator ride to the top floor feels like it takes forever. Grace doesn't say a word. Just stares at her reflection in the polished steel doors. Mark stands beside her, still wearing his work shirt, still smelling faintly of bleach and floor wax. The elevator dings. The doors open. The penthouse is massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Minimalist furniture. Everything is white, gray, or steel. It looks like a magazine spread. Cold. Perfect. Lifeless. Grace walks to a large dining table covered in cardboard boxes. She gestures to them. That's everything. Contracts, emails, financial records, lab reports. My old legal team went through it all and told me we had no case. She crosses her arms. You have 72 hours to find something they missed. Mark sets down his jacket and rolls up his sleeves. I'll need coffee. Kitchen's that way. He starts with the emails. There are thousands of them, printed and organized in thick binders. He scans each one, looking for inconsistencies, gaps, anything that feels wrong. At first, nothing stands out. The language is technical, dense. References to quantum energy, photon efficiency, conversion rates. He barely understands half of it. But then he notices something. A thread between Grace and her former assistant, Nathan Brooks. The emails start normal, professional. But then, about 6 months ago, they stop. Abruptly. Like someone hit delete. Mark flips through the next binder. Still nothing from Nathan. He looks up. Who's Nathan Brooks? Grace is standing by the window, arms wrapped around herself. She doesn't turn around. My intern. I treated him like family. Paid for his grad school. Gave him access to everything. Her voice cracks. He disappeared 3 months ago. No warning. No explanation. Mark writes the name down. You think he's involved? I don't know what to think anymore. Mark keeps digging. He finds financial records next. Bank transfers. Wire receipts. Offshore accounts. And that's when he sees it. A series of transactions. $2.3 million moved from Grace's charity fund to an account in the Cayman Islands. The signature on the authorization form looks like Grace's. But the timestamp? It's from a day Grace was giving a speech at MIT. He checks her schedule. She was on live TV that entire afternoon. Someone forged her signature. Mark leans back in his chair. Whoever did this started inside your own house. Grace finally turns around. Her eyes are red again. What are you saying? I'm saying someone close to you set you up. Someone who had access to your files, your accounts, your schedule. She shakes her head. That's impossible. I trust my team. Did you trust Nathan? She doesn't answer. Mark stands up. We need to find him. Grace pulls out her phone. I'll call my security team. Mark's old phone buzzes. He hasn't used it in years. Keeps it in a drawer at home, just in case. But somehow, it's vibrating in his pocket right now. He pulls it out. One new text message. Unknown number. Stop digging. Mark's blood goes cold. Grace sees his face. What is it? He shows her the screen. She stares at it for a long moment. Then she whispers, they're watching us. You know what's crazy? Most people would have walked away right there. Gotten scared. Gone home. Forgotten the whole thing. But Mark didn't. And neither did Grace. Because when you've already lost everything once, you stop being afraid of losing it again. If you've ever felt like the world was against you, like no one believed you, like you were fighting alone, you need to stay with this story. Because what happens next? It's not just about a trial. It's about two people who refuse to stay down. Don't go anywhere. You need to see what happens when they find Nathan. Grace makes coffee while Mark stares at his phone. The text message is still there. 3 words. No explanation. Stop digging. He deletes it. Then he turns off the phone and sets it on the table. Grace hands him a mug. You okay? Yeah. You're lying. He takes a sip. The coffee's bitter. Strong. Exactly what he needs. Grace sits across from him. You've been quiet since you got that text. What's going on? Mark doesn't answer right away. He just stares into his mug, watching the steam rise. Finally, he says, this isn't the first time someone's tried to silence me. Grace leans forward. What do you mean? And that's when Mark tells her. 15 years ago, Mark Daniels was the rising star of the Midwest legal scene. He worked for a small firm in Dayton, Ohio. Nothing fancy. Just honest people helping honest people. But Mark, he had a gift. He could take the most complicated case and make it simple. Make a jury feel the truth. He was 28 years old. Married to his high school sweetheart, Sarah. They had a baby girl, Lily. Life was good. Then he took a case that changed everything. A local factory, owned by a massive corporation called Apex Industries, had been dumping toxic waste into the river for years. Kids were getting sick. Families were losing everything. Mark took the case pro bono. Spent months building evidence, interviewing witnesses, tracking down internal documents. He had them dead to rights. But the night before the trial, something happened. Mark's office was broken into. His files were stolen. His laptop was wiped clean. And the next morning, a story hit the news. Attorney Mark Daniels under investigation for ethics violations. It was a lie. All of it. But the damage was done. Apex Industries had connections. Powerful connections. Judges. Politicians. Media outlets. They buried him. His law license wasn't revoked, but his reputation was destroyed. Clients stopped calling. His firm let him go. His wife, Sarah, couldn't handle the pressure. The stress. The shame. She left him. Took Lily with her. For 2 years, Mark fought to get his daughter back. Took a janitor job to pay the bills. Worked nights so he could be there for Lily during the day. Eventually, Sarah let him have joint custody. But by then, Mark was done with the law. Done with fighting. Done with believing the system could be fair. He cleaned floors. Raised his daughter. Went to church on Sundays. Kept his head down. Until today. Grace is quiet for a long time after he finishes. Then she says, was it Silverline? Mark looks up. What? The company that destroyed you. Was it connected to Silverline? Mark frowns. I don't know. Why? Because Silverline is the network behind my case. They're the ones funding the prosecution. They're the ones who want me in prison. Mark's chest tightens. How do you know? Because they've been trying to destroy me for years. Ever since I refused to sell them my clean energy patents. She stands up and walks to the window. They're not just a company, Mark. They're a network. Politicians. CEOs. Federal agents. They control everything. Mark feels something cold crawl up his spine. You think they're the ones who framed me 15 years ago? I don't think. I know. She turns around. And if they did it to you, they'll do it to anyone who gets in their way. Mark's phone buzzes again. He stares at it. Then he picks it up. Another text. Same unknown number. We warned you. And then a photo loads. Mark's heart stops. It's Lily, his 10-year-old daughter, standing at her school bus stop, wearing her pink backpack, smiling at something off camera. Underneath the photo, one more message. One more step, and she never comes home. Mark drops the phone like it's on fire. Grace sees his face. Mark. What is it? He can't speak. Can't breathe. His hands are shaking. Grace picks up the phone. She sees the photo. Sees the message. Her face goes pale. Oh my God. Mark stands up, grabs his jacket. I have to go. I have to get her. Mark, wait. They know where she is. They know where she lives. His voice is shaking. I can't let them. Grace grabs his arm. Listen to me. If you run to her right now, they'll know they got to you. They'll know you're scared. And scared people make mistakes. I don't care. Yes, you do. She squeezes his arm. Because if they wanted to hurt her, they already would have. This is a warning. They're trying to scare you into walking away. Mark's breathing is ragged. What if they're not bluffing? Then we call the police. We get her somewhere safe. But we do it smart. She lets go of his arm. You said it yourself. These people destroyed you once. They'll do it again if you let them. Mark closes his eyes. He sees Lily's face. Her smile. Her pink backpack. He whispers, I can't lose her. Then don't. Grace's voice is firm. Fight for her. Fight for both of us. Mark opens his eyes. How? We find Nathan. We get the evidence. And we bury Silverline before they bury us. Mark stares at her for a long moment. Then he nods. Okay. End of Act 3 cliffhanger. They didn't know it yet, but finding Nathan wasn't going to save them. It was going to put them in the crosshairs of the most dangerous people in America. And by the time they realized that, it would already be too late. Mark calls his ex-wife. The phone rings 4 times before Sarah picks up. Mark, it's 10 o'clock on a Monday. What's wrong? He tries to keep his voice steady. I need you to pick up Lily from school today. What? Why? You always. Sarah, please. Just do it. Don't let her take the bus. Don't let her walk. You pick her up. Personally. There's a pause. Mark, you're scaring me. Good. Be scared. Keep her inside. Lock the doors. Don't answer for anyone you don't know. What is going on? I'll explain later. Just please keep her safe. He hangs up before she can argue. Grace is already on her laptop, typing furiously. I'm messaging my security team. They'll send someone to watch your daughter's school. They can't know about this. They won't. My guys are professionals. They'll stay invisible. She looks up. But Mark, if Silverline is threatening your daughter, this just became a different kind of fight. I know. No, I don't think you do. She closes her laptop. These people don't just win cases. They destroy lives. They've already proven they'll come after your family. And if we keep pushing, then we push anyway. Mark's voice is hard. Because if I walk away now, they win. And my daughter grows up knowing her father was a coward. Grace stares at him. Then she nods. Okay, so what's next? We find Nathan. And how do we do that? Mark thinks for a moment. You said he disappeared 3 months ago. Did he leave anything behind? Personal belongings? Files? Anything? Grace shakes her head. He cleaned out his desk. Took his laptop. Left his key card on my secretary's desk. What about his apartment? I don't know where he lived. He worked for you for 3 years and you don't know where he lived. He was private. Never talked about his personal life. Mark rubs his face. Okay, what about payroll? You must have his address on file. Grace's eyes widen. Yes, HR would have it. She grabs her phone and makes a call. 5 minutes later, she has an address. Nathan Brooks. Apartment 4C. 287 East Broadway, Lower East Side. They take Grace's car. A black SUV with tinted windows and a driver named Miguel who doesn't ask questions. The drive takes 20 minutes. They pull up to a 6-story walk-up with rusted fire escapes and graffiti on the front door. Grace looks out the window. He lived here. Not everyone lives in a penthouse, Mark says. They get out. Miguel stays with the car. The lobby smells like old cigarettes and mildew. The elevator is broken, so they take the stairs. By the time they reach the 4th floor, Grace is out of breath. Mark knocks on 4C. No answer. He knocks again. Nathan, it's Mark Daniels. I'm representing Grace Ellington. We need to talk. Still nothing. Mark tries the knob. Locked. Grace pulls a credit card from her wallet. Move. Mark raises an eyebrow. You know how to pick a lock. I grew up in foster care. You learn things. She slides the card into the doorframe, jiggles it, and the lock clicks open. They step inside. The apartment is small. 1 bedroom. Barely any furniture. But it's been trashed. Couch cushions ripped open. Drawers pulled out and dumped on the floor. Books torn apart. Even the mattress is slashed. Grace's hand goes to her mouth. Oh my God. Mark walks slowly through the wreckage. Someone was looking for something. Do you think they found it? I don't know. He crouches down and picks up a framed photo from the floor. It's Nathan, younger, smiling, standing next to an older woman. His mother, maybe. Grace kneels beside him. Mark, look. She's pointing at the corner of the room. Behind the toppled bookshelf, there's a small safe built into the wall. The door is hanging open. Empty. Mark stands up. They got whatever he was hiding. Unless he moved it first. They search the rest of the apartment. The kitchen. The bathroom. The bedroom. Nothing. As they're about to leave, Mark notices something. A loose floorboard near the closet. He kneels down and pries it up. Underneath, there's a small fireproof box. Grace's eyes widen. Open it. Inside the box, a flash drive. A handwritten note. And a burner phone. Mark picks up the note. It's in Nathan's handwriting. If you're reading this, I'm already dead. I'm sorry, Grace. I never wanted to hurt you. They made me. Grace's hands are shaking. What does he mean, they made him? Mark plugs the flash drive into his phone. Files start loading. Dozens of them. Emails. Audio recordings. Bank transfers. Photos. Mark scrolls through them, his heart pounding. Then he sees it. An email thread between Nathan and someone named J. Carr at Silverline Capital Group. The subject line, Grace Ellington, final phase. Mark opens it. Nathan, we need those files by Friday. Once we have them, we'll initiate the transfer and plant the evidence. Make sure she doesn't suspect anything. You'll be compensated as promised. J. Carr. Grace reads over his shoulder. Her face goes white. He betrayed me. He didn't have a choice. Mark scrolls further. Look, there's another email. This one from Nathan to J. Carr. I can't do this anymore. You said no one would get hurt. You said she'd just lose her company. But now you're talking about prison? Federal charges? I'm out. The response from J. Carr. You're out when we say you're out. Remember who's paying your mother's medical bills. One word from us, and St. Vincent's pulls the plug. Literally. Grace's voice breaks. They threatened his mother. Mark keeps reading. There are dozens more emails. Nathan begging. J. Carr threatening. And then 3 months ago, silence. Mark looks at Grace. He stopped responding. That's when he disappeared. Do you think they? Before she can finish, Mark's phone buzzes. It's a call from Sarah. He answers. Sarah. Mark, where are you? Her voice is panicked. I'm working. What's wrong? I just got to Lily's school. She's not here. Mark's world stops. What do you mean she's not there? Her teacher said she left with you during lunch. That you signed her out. I didn't sign her out. I'm not even. His voice breaks. Sarah, I didn't pick her up. Grace sees his face and grabs his arm. Sarah is crying now. Mark, where is she? Where's our daughter? Mark can barely breathe. Call the police. Right now. I'm on my way. He hangs up. Grace is already pulling him toward the door. Mark, they took her. His voice is hollow. They took my daughter. They run down the stairs, out of the building, into the SUV. Miguel drives like he's in a high-speed chase. Mark's phone buzzes again. Unknown number. He answers. Where is she? A distorted voice. Mechanical. Cold. You should have stopped digging, Mr. Daniels. Where is my daughter? She's safe. For now. But if you take one more step toward that courtroom, if you say one more word about Silverline, you'll never see her again. Please. She's 10 years old. She has nothing to do with this. She has everything to do with this. Because you chose to defend a criminal instead of protecting your own child. Mark's hands are shaking. What do you want? Walk away. Tell the judge you can't represent Miss Ellington. Go back to your mop and bucket. And in 24 hours, your daughter will be dropped off at her school. Unharmed. How do I know you're telling the truth? There's a pause. Then a new voice comes on the line. Small. Scared. Crying. Daddy. Mark's heart shatters. Lily. Baby, are you okay? I'm scared. I want to come home. I know, sweetheart. I know. Just stay calm, okay? Daddy's going to. The distorted voice cuts back in. 24 hours, Mr. Daniels. The clock is ticking. The line goes dead. Mark stares at the phone. His vision is blurring. He can't breathe. Can't think. Grace is holding his hand. She's crying too. Mark, I'm so sorry. This is my fault. I should never have. Don't. His voice is broken. Don't say that. But it's true. They took her because of me. They took her because they're monsters. He looks at her. And if I walk away now, they win. And next time, they'll take someone else's daughter. Someone else's family. Grace shakes her head. Mark, you can't. You have to save Lily. I will save her. But not by giving them what they want. He wipes his eyes. We have 24 hours. We use it. How? Mark looks at the flash drive still in his hand. We find Nathan. We get the rest of the evidence. And we make sure Silverline never threatens another family again. They go back to Grace's penthouse. Mark can barely focus. Every few minutes, he checks his phone, hoping for another call. Another chance to hear Lily's voice. Grace makes more coffee. Neither of them drinks it. Mark plugs the flash drive into her laptop and starts going through the files. His hands are shaking so badly he can barely type. There are hundreds of documents, emails, wire transfers, shell companies, offshore accounts, a paper trail connecting Silverline Capital Group to over a dozen federal prosecutors, judges, and FBI agents. They own everyone, Grace whispers. Mark's jaw tightens. Not everyone. Just enough. He finds a list of names. People Silverline has paid off. People they've blackmailed. People they've threatened. One name jumps out. Judge William Brennan. The same judge presiding over Grace's case. Mark's blood runs cold. They got to him. Grace leans over his shoulder. Are you sure? Look, he points at the screen. 3 months ago, Silverline transferred $250,000 to an account in Judge Brennan's wife's name. The memo says consulting fees. Grace sits down. So he's bought. The trial is rigged. Which means we can't win in his courtroom. We have to go public with this. Get it to the media. Force a federal investigation. And what if they kill Lily before we can? Mark's phone buzzes. Text message. Unknown number. Look outside. Mark and Grace rush to the window. Down on the street, a black van is parked at the curb. The side door slides open. A man stumbles out. Nathan Brooks. He's wearing a torn shirt. His face is bruised. Blood dripping from his nose. He looks up at the building, right at their window, and mouths one word. Help. Then he collapses on the sidewalk. Grace gasps. Oh my God. Mark is already running. He grabs his jacket, sprints to the elevator, slams the button. Grace is right behind him. Mark, wait. This could be a trap. I don't care. The elevator takes forever. When they finally reach the ground floor, Mark bursts through the lobby doors and out onto the street. Nathan is lying on the pavement, barely conscious. Blood pooling under his head. Mark kneels beside him. Nathan. Nathan, can you hear me? Nathan's eyes flutter open. Mark. Yeah, it's me. What happened? Who did this to you? Nathan coughs. Blood on his lips. Silverline. They found me. Grace kneels on his other side. Nathan, I'm so sorry. No. Nathan grabs her hand. I'm sorry. I betrayed you. I gave them everything. I didn't want to, but my mom, she was dying, and they said they'd help her, and he breaks down. I'm so sorry. Grace is crying. It's okay. It's okay. We know. We found the emails. Nathan reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out another flash drive. His hands are shaking. This is everything. Audio recordings. Video. Proof of who they paid off. Proof they framed you. Mark takes it. Nathan, you need a hospital. No time. They're coming. They know I'm here. He coughs again. More blood. Mark, they have your daughter. I heard them talking. They're keeping her in a warehouse. Brooklyn. Near the docks. Mark's heart pounds. Where? Which warehouse? I don't know the address. But I heard them say. A gunshot. Nathan's body jerks. Blood sprays across Mark's shirt. Grace screams. Nathan slumps forward, his eyes going blank. Mark catches him. Nathan, stay with me. But he's gone. Mark looks up. Across the street, on a rooftop, a man in black is holding a rifle. He's aiming at Grace. Mark tackles her to the ground, just as another shot rings out. The bullet hits the pavement where Grace was standing. Miguel, Grace's driver, pulls the SUV in front of them, shielding them. Get in. Now. Mark and Grace scramble into the back seat. Miguel floors it. More gunshots. The rear window shatters. Miguel swerves through traffic, running a red light, cutting off a taxi. Grace is hyperventilating. Oh my God. Nathan, he's dead, they killed him. Mark is gripping the flash drive so hard his knuckles are white. We have to get somewhere safe. Where? They know where I live. They know where you live. Miguel looks in the rearview mirror. Miss Ellington, we have a tail. Black sedan. 2 cars back. Grace leans forward. Lose them. Miguel nods. He takes a hard left, then another, weaving through side streets. The sedan stays with them. Mark looks back. They're gaining. Miguel's jaw tightens. Hold on. He punches the gas. The SUV rockets forward, blowing through an intersection. Horns blare. A delivery truck slams on its brakes. The sedan is still behind them. Miguel makes a sharp right into an alley. Trash cans scatter. A homeless man dives out of the way. They burst out onto another street. And suddenly, there are 3 more black sedans waiting. Grace's eyes widen. Miguel, I see them. He spins the wheel. The SUV skids, tires screaming, and barrels back the way they came. The sedans give chase. Mark grabs Grace's hand. We're not going to make it. Yes, we are. Grace pulls out her phone. I'm calling the police. They own the police. Mark shouts. You saw the list. Half the NYPD is on Silverline's payroll. Grace stares at him. Then what do we do? Miguel looks back at them. Miss Ellington, we need a safe location. Now. Grace thinks fast. The panic room. At my penthouse. They'll just follow us there. It's reinforced steel. Biometric locks. They can't get in without explosives. And if they use explosives, the whole building will hear it. Someone will call the real cops. Mark shakes his head. It's too risky. It's our only option. Miguel makes a decision. Panic room it is. He takes another hard turn, heading back toward the Upper East Side. The sedans are right behind them. They screech to a stop in front of Grace's building. Miguel jumps out, gun drawn, and yells at them. Go. Now. Mark and Grace sprint into the lobby. The doorman, an older man named Frank, looks up in shock. Miss Ellington, what's? Lock the doors. Grace shouts. Call 911. They don't wait to see if he listens. They run to the elevator, slam the button. Behind them, the lobby doors burst open. 3 men in black tactical gear storm in. Frank tries to stop them. One of the men shoves him to the ground. The elevator doors close just in time. Mark and Grace are pressed against the back wall, breathing hard. They're coming, Mark says. I know. The elevator climbs. 15 floors. 20. 30. Finally, it stops at the top floor. The doors open. They run into the penthouse. Grace locks the front door. 3 deadbolts, 1 security chain. Mark knows it won't hold them for long. Grace sprints to the far wall of her bedroom. She presses her palm against a hidden scanner. A section of the wall slides open, revealing a reinforced steel door. She types in a code. Presses her thumb to another scanner. The door hisses open. Inside is a small room. Maybe 10 by 10 feet. Concrete walls. A single bench. A computer terminal. Shelves stocked with water and MRE rations. Grace pulls Mark inside. The door seals shut with a heavy clunk. They're safe. For now. I need you to understand something. Most people watching this story right now think it's just fiction. Just another courtroom drama. Another thriller. But stories like this? They happen every single day in America. Innocent people get framed. Powerful people bury the truth. Families get torn apart. And the only reason we don't hear about it is because the Mark Daniels of the world, the people who fight back, usually lose. But not this time. If you're still here, if you're still watching, it means you care about more than just entertainment. You care about justice, about truth. And I'm asking you, stay with me. Because what happens next is the moment everything changes. Don't click away. Don't scroll past. This story needs you to see how it ends.